Hello everyone, welcome back to JB's Total Gaming, where today we're going to be talking about how to actually play Artifact. We just did a video on how to actually build a deck, what the rules are and suggestions and things like that, some basic suggestions if you want to check that out if you're interested. So we're not going to talk about that too much. We are going to use the blue-green creep deck that we built, and I decided we're going to go against the AI against a red-black deck so you can see the red-black cards as well and their heroes. I'm turning the timer off. I was going to go against another player, but yeah, we want to talk about what we're doing and how to do things. So we can just do a one-off game. We can do a thing where we get to either 5 wins or 2 losses first using the same deck and things like that. Phantom drafts, obviously we're not going to show off our deck in a Phantom draft. We may play some real players eventually here, but we want to turn the timer off because we want to talk about how to play the game because this is a complicated game. So let's go ahead and jump into it. Now, when I first saw a video on this game, they did not describe what was happening here. So in the how to build your deck section, we picked 5 heroes and we chose what order. The first 3 will always come out in random positions on the board, and then the next one will come out in round 2, the next one will come out in round 3. And so this, when I started watching the video, I'm like, wait, you haven't even done anything yet, and there's all this stuff going on. What in the heck just happened? Basically, there are 3 lanes on the board. Again, this game is kind of based on Dota 2, where there's lanes and creeps and heroes and things like that. And every round, we're going to resolve the first lane, the second lane, the third lane. We're going to have a chance to buy items if we earned any gold. We're going to have a deployment phase where 2 more random creeps, so these things here, come out on the board in random lanes, and we can deploy any heroes to any lanes we choose, and our opponent will do the same thing if we have a hero available for deployment. We can look right up here and see next round with this check mark up here. This is the kind of the healing fountain area up here. We do have this hero will come out in the start of the next round during the deployment phase, and then the round after that you can see the -1. This hero will be coming out for us, and we can also see what our opponent has. I can also double click and see not only this character's stats, and if they've been modified at any point during the game, that'll stay on here. If there's equipment, it'll stay on there. I can also see that hero's signature card. So all that information is available. If you ever want to see anything more closely, just double click on it. If there's keywords or anything like that, or abilities, you will have all of that information. And I highly suggest playing against the AI with the timer off when learning this game. So we're pretty lucky here. We didn't get this guy. This guy's annoying. If he starts across one against one of our weaker heroes and just kills it round 1, first of all, that's bad. And then he also gets armor, and it's permanent because it's a modifier. It's real bad. So that's why the board state is in the way it is. These are the first 3 heroes that our opponent chose to have out on the board initially. These are his 2 creep that spawned randomly, except there are 3. Do 3 creeps spawn randomly? I might be wrong about that. Huh. Anyways, maybe it's 3 at the beginning of the game. I think it's 2 every round after that. But anyways, that's how the board is in the condition that it is. So what do we do on a turn? Well, first of all, we want to obviously assess the situation here. So we can see right now what's going to happen is that these characters are going to attack each other. You can see these lines here. These characters are going to attack each other. We can see down here, as of right now, what's going to happen. This here is going to take 5 damage. These creeps here are each going to take 2 damage. If one of these characters were to be a character that's going to die in the situation right now, you would see this red X here. So that's kind of what we're looking at there. You can also, again, look, so in 2 rounds from now, this is what this means. This isn't active right now, and if they use it, then there will be a 2-round cooldown again. This is an ability that our opponent can use. We have a passive ability. So that's kind of the iconography and the stuff going on there. We have 3 mana. We haven't used any, so we have 3 of 3. Same with our opponent. And our tower is at 40 health. So, real briefly, the way you win the game is either by destroying 2 of your 3 enemies' towers before they destroy 2 of your 3, or by destroying an enemy ancient. If we were to destroy this tower here, an ancient would pop up that has 80 health instead of 40. If we destroy that, we win the game, even if we haven't destroyed any other towers, as long as our opponent hasn't destroyed 2 of our towers or destroyed one of our ancients. So that's the gist of how you win. Now, there's a lot of details, though, as to what's going on here, including pathing and things like that. We're going to discuss a lot of that as they come up. So, for example, these characters across from each other, they are naturally going to face off against each other. This character here has a 50% chance of going this way, a 25% chance of going this way, and a 25% chance of going this way. Now, there's nothing over here, so they would still go ahead and attack the tower. But this is all stuff we're going to come across. So this character, just because I lay someone down in a lane, doesn't necessarily going to mean they're going to attack ahead straight if they have an enemy neighbor. Neighbors are the things right across from them or to the left or right. So if you see, let me see if there's any arrows. No, all the arrows are going forward right now. So that can happen where you could have a situation where this character is dealing 2 damage and then this character has an arrow going this way. And because of that, this character would actually have 4 damage on them and a red X. These are all things that can be modified, but they are random things each round. I do want to point that out. And there's a lot of randomness in the game. We'll talk about in another video whether or not I like all the randomness in the game. But it is something to bear in mind that these arrows just aren't always going to be facing forward. So now we've talked about the board state at the very beginning of the game, which is a much more complicated board state than most games. Now let's talk about what we can do. Right now, something that you really want to bear in mind too, and we can see here an outline too. This is the first lane, second lane, third lane. These are the heroes on it. Here is the current tower health, and I'll change to the ancient health if that happens. We are on the action phase in lane 1. That's what all this information is. It can be very useful. We both have 0 gold, something else to bear in mind. We will get gold by killing creeps or by killing heroes. So, right now we have initiative. If this is my pass button, if I were to hit pass and my opponent hits pass, then this action phase over here ends. And this stuff happens exactly as it says. This character will take 3 damage, this one will take 5, 2, 2, and then we will go on to the next lane. Okay, great. If I were to pass and my opponent were to do something, they were to play a card, activate an ability, anything like that, then I would get another opportunity. And then at that point, if I pass again, I still have initiative because I was the first one to pass before both players pass. If, let's say, for example, though, I was the first one to pass, my opponent did something, but then I did something, and then they pass and I pass. Now they have initiative because when we ended the action phase, you end it by both players passing consecutively. They were the first one to pass at that point. It's not the first player to pass in a round, but the first player to pass before both players pass consecutively, because I would have another opportunity if they do something. And then that initiative will carry over onto the next board. So right now, if I pass and my opponent passes, I will also go first on the next board. So these are the cards in my hand. You can see they cost 4, 5, 6, 4, 5 mana. I only have 3 mana. I can't play any of them. Let's say, for example, though, I had 4 mana this round. I would still not be able to play this card. This is a green card, and I can only play a green card if I have a green hero in the active lane. Now, something very important to bear in mind. So let's say Zeus was dead here. I didn't have Zeus at all here. I wouldn't be able to play any cards. I have no heroes in that lane. So something you can do that can be very effective, and I believe silencing also has the same effect. It doesn't allow heroes to play cards. If you can get rid of, say, if I could get rid of this hero, even if my opponent had a black card that was 3 mana, if I were to somehow kill this hero before they got to go, well, they just wouldn't be able to do anything. Now, they would eventually get the initiative because they'd pass, but that is something very big to keep in mind, and that's why initiative can be very important. There may be cases where it's not necessarily that important to you, but in general, sometimes it's worth not making a play that would be good for you to make because having the initiative in the next phase is actually more important. Maybe you can win the game as long as you have initiative going into the next round. So that's how initiative works. Now, at this point, I've done a lot of talking, and I can't do anything, but we want to talk about the basic setup of the game. So I'm going to go ahead and hit pass here. Because I can't do anything. My opponent can't do anything. And that's going to be very common in round 1 of the game. Now you can see this board condition has now changed to where if a combat happens again here, these two will die and then Zeus will die, which is bad. I don't want that to happen. Now over here, what do we have going on? Much the same. I can't play anything. So what am I going to do? I'm going to pass. And my opponent most likely is going to pass. We'll see if they do anything. Nope. Okay, now they killed a creep and they got 1 gold. We can see that right up here. When you kill a creep, you get 1 gold. When you kill an enemy hero, you get 5 gold. So that's how that works. Again, I have nothing I can really do this round, except... oh, this is a passive ability, so never mind. And this is also a passive ability. So I don't have any active abilities right now, and this is passive for my opponent as well. So basically, the first round, not much is going to happen. Oh! My opponent did do a thing. Now, at any point, if I want to see what my opponent did, I can either scroll over and check out the last card played, or if multiple cards are played, I believe I can double click and it'll bring all that up. Because there's only one right now, it just brings this up. And it'll give me all of the details on here. So this has an ability, spend all your gold, and then modify this character by basically half of that value in attack and health. Modify is permanent. So this is a character with 2 attack, 4 health, and 1 armor. So this character could get decently big if my opponent wants to spend a lot of gold buffing up this character. They won't be able to buy items because they'll spend all their gold, but this is something to bear in mind. That 1 armor is already pretty good. So even though this creep is not super powerful and only cost 3 mana, if they're willing to invest into gold in it, that could get annoying. So, again, passes back to me because my opponent did something, even though I passed. I have to pass again, and now the combat will happen. You can see I took 10 damage to that tower. That's not good. I'm going to want to get something in front of that guy. At this point, this is where I can buy items. So, I have a consumable thing here. I have my item deck. These are the 9 cards that I brought when I built my deck. And then the secret shop, which has all kinds of cool and interesting items in it. However, I only have 1 gold, so I'm not going to be able to do anything with that. So we're going to pass the turn. Now, at this point, I can see, yes, it is 2 creeps to generate here. I'm going to generate 2 creeps in this lane. I kind of wish they were over here. That's a bummer. Now, where are they going to go? Now, I don't get to choose exactly where they go. They're just going to plop down in this lane. Now, whenever there is something for them to face, they will go in front of the thing that's facing. So let's say, for example, my opponent had nothing coming down. They didn't have a hero they could play. And I had 1 creep coming here. I knew that creep would generate in front of this character. But let's say my opponent had 2 creeps coming into this lane. I had 2 creeps coming into this lane. Well, these creeps might generate in front of this guy or either of the 2 creeps. So that's something to bear in mind. They're not going to ever go in front of an open space unless there are no enemies for them to go in front of. And then if there aren't enemies for them to go in front of, they will either go on the left or right side of my existing board. So this is something I get from my hero here. They have a passive ability. So I'm going to be getting 3 creeps in this lane. That's pretty darn good. I know my opponent is going to be getting 2 creeps over here. That's not great. So the one thing I have to decide, because this is being generated in this lane from this person, these got randomly generated in this lane, where do I want to put my hero? This hero is not tanky. They only have 5 health, and they have a really good passive ability, and I want to keep them alive. So what I kind of want to do is I want to assess where is going to be a safe place to put this hero. I also know my opponent is putting down this guy. This is a real bummer. I might lose this lane very quickly here. My opponent has gone in heavily in this lane. I'm in a little bit of trouble over here unless I can do something. Now I can look at my cards. I can put a Savage Wolf down here and, block maybe this guy this turn if I want to do that. So that's something to bear in mind. I can't put a barracks down just yet. So I want to think about what I have in my hand and what I'll be able to do, assuming, and this is a green card, so I'll be able to play it over here. There are cards, however. Again, you have to have an active hero, or you have to have a hero in the active lane to play a card of that color. If you see a card like this, though, where they have these arrows here, that means that this card can be played in any lane. So, for example, this is something that summons a melee creep during the deployment phase. So I can put this, I could play it from this lane into any of the 3 lanes. That is something to bear in mind. You can even play things in a previous lane that is already finished for the round. So that is something that's pretty big to bear in mind. And then this is the spell symbol. This is an improvement symbol. This is something that will go in a lane and stay there unless it's destroyed by something. And then this is a symbol for a creep. So the creeps that we generate and then the creeps that we, have cards for, they basically, they're both referred to as creeps, and then these are referred to as our heroes. So this is a bad place to go for my hero. If they go here, I am in trouble. They could very likely die to this guy. So I could go here. This is not necessarily bad. My opponent's getting 2 creeps here, but the creeps aren't going to kill this person right away. However, I don't know where my opponent's going to put this person. They could go all in here. They could try to take control of this lane. They could try to stabilize this lane, which, with these creeps coming in, I really don't know where they're necessarily going to go. But I think my safest bet is actually to go in this lane, because I'm generating 3 creeps, and then I'll have 4 cards coming down, and I really want to keep this person alive and maybe take control of this lane. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to choose a lane to put my hero in. And then I'm going to say I'm going to confirm my deployment, and then all this is going to deploy, and I'm going to hope I'm not in front of the hero here, and I'll get a creep in front of that. And of course I'm in front of the hero. That's just the way things go. Now here, we saw a good example here. The random pathing card that got chosen. You also draw 2 cards every round. That's something to bear in mind. And so something to bear in mind too is, let's say I'm in a situation where I don't have any cards I want to play here, but I have 4 mana. Well, maybe, let's say I had 5 mana, it's a good idea at this point, if I had 5 mana, let's say, and there were no cards I wanted to play, and I'm not worried about the initiative, I can spend that 5 mana in this lane to play a barracks in another lane. So using mana and determining what lanes to put stuff in and using your mana efficiently is something important to bear in mind. Now, I could draw 2 cards. I could summon 3 melee creeps. Now, this is only in this lane. Now, that might be more important for me. Now, maybe I could have gone over here, but again, I didn't want that character to die right away. So this one does not allow me to summon it in any lane. So what do I want to do in this situation? Well, I'm actually thinking about drawing cards. Now this hero is going to die, which is a bummer. And yeah, we're in a little bit of trouble in this lane. So drawing cards is not a bad idea. However, this character is gonna die, and we're gonna be taking some damage. So if I summon 3 melee creeps, well, we're mitigating that damage and kind of staving off the hurt for a little bit in this lane. Where this lane, we've got 2 things generating creeps. We're taking over this lane, so I think holding off this lane and maybe conceding that other lane is not a bad idea. So we're going to do that. We're going to generate these creeps. As you can see, they generated in front of other stuff. Now, previously, this character was fighting this character. Well, that's a bummer. -1 mana, I don't like that. This character, they were both fighting this one because they were randomly generated to attack into this lane, and that was that pathing card we were talking about earlier. But now that we placed a character in front of this, they automatically then face that character. There are cards where you get to choose a combat target. A combat target has to be one that is a neighbor, so either right across or left or right. So I can't choose like this character as a combat target for this character if I played a card that did that. But if a character plops that in front of you, even if you're going a different direction, then you end up facing the character you're going up against. So that's something important to bear in mind. Now, I can't really do anything else at this point. Now, just to check, enemy tower has -1 mana. Oh, so this is a minion though. Okay, it's this guy. So I'm just gonna have -1 mana as long as this guy's around. It's kind of a continuous effect. That's the infinity symbol there. So I don't like this. We're gonna lose a hero, but something I want you to bear in mind. It may look like initially things are going very badly for us. With blue decks, that's gonna happen. That's okay. We're gonna, and there, that's great. So that creep did good stuff, and it killed that thing. So, but now we're real bummed because we didn't want this to happen. This is the one place we didn't want this character to go. So what do? Well, we can only play green cards over there. We might as well play a blue card. The only blue card we can play is to draw 2 cards. I'm not too worried about the initiative, so I guess what I'm going to do. So I really hate losing this character right away. So that's a bummer. I am upset about this. However, they also will lose their hero because if you can see, the pathing on this character worked out that they're attacking here. So we're not just doing 3 damage, we're doing 5 damage. So this is a trade I don't like. This is a character I really wanted to protect, and that's exactly what didn't happen. So we are gonna do Foresight. And 4 damage to each enemy could definitely be useful, and give allies damage immunity this round also could be useful. We're going to end our turn. We're going to trade heroes. I'll get 5 gold for that. My enemy will get 5 gold for that. And we're definitely in control of this lane. And we can see next round we have a hero that'll come out, and then the round after that, our 2 heroes that have died will come back out. Blue heroes are going to die early and often, but that's okay. So, let's see here. We only have 4 mana. So if we play the wolf, it kind of hurts. Because if we play the wolf, we're basically just doing it to buy time, which I don't really like. I really wish we had some other way of dealing with that. This doesn't really help right now. So I think the wolf will end up doing more damage because it's next to this guy, and I think we just don't want to concede this tower too early. So that's what we're gonna do. Whoa boy, they spent a lot of money, and yeah, now they're doing 8 damage to our tower. So they're really going heavy on us here, and where we need to be careful is we don't want to completely concede this lane, because if we concede this lane too early, then they can do 80 damage to our tower and end up hurting us real bad. So we're going to deal some damage to the enemy hero. And this character is going to die, so their ability isn't really going to be able to do all that much because it happens after the combat phase. Now we have enough money to buy some cards. So let's see here. We have 9. So we can buy this secret item that costs 8 here. Activate, deal 6 damage to equipped enemies hero neighbor, and condemn equipped hero. Okay, condemn gets rid of them. So we basically destroy one of our own heroes to deal 6 damage to something across from that. And we can use this again and again. This is really useful on, at least one of the heroes has rapid deployment, where they come back out every round, and because equipment stays on a hero after they die, that could be really, really helpful. But our heroes are going to die enough. We don't want to make them die more. We can buy both of these, which is not bad. We're definitely going to want to be healing units as the game goes on, and I'm going to buy a sword, and then the blink dagger is underneath that, which the blink dagger could be really helpful. That can move a hero to another lane, but we didn't do that. So now we decide what we want to do with this hero, and we're kind of in a bit of trouble here. We can't really go here because they'll probably die. I mean, we're spawning something, but they're doing 10 and 8 damage right now, so that kind of hurts. Regeneration is nice for us, although we need to be in a place that regeneration is going to be useful. So I think we want to go over here. We don't want to concede this lane. We're dominating this lane. This is what our opponent's going to bring out. And none of these things are going to kill this character right away. And we want to be able to cast spells. You got to remember that. We can't cast spells unless we have a hero out. So we'll be able to cast green spells here, blue and green. So we can see the creep and the pathing cards and things like that. So they're going to take 5 damage, which is bad, but they have a passive regenerate. Regenerate isn't really going to help us with all these things that are... Oh, interesting. So how did that... I'm not quite sure how that works. Let's see. 2 regenerations. So we can look at this. And let's see here. Trying to figure out exactly how to look at exactly what regenerate does. But anyways, they're not going to die and they're going to kill an enemy hero. So that worked out okay. Now this is a situation where, again, this does not have the arrows on it, so we cannot use this anywhere. We could equip a short sword, but that doesn't necessarily do us much good right now. So what green cards could we play? Let's see here. By giving our neighbors armor, that could be pretty good. So right now, this character has 4 health. They're going to take 4 damage. So yeah, this is pretty good actually. This unit's neighbors, allied neighbors, have +2 armor. I kind of like that. We could put a wolf down, which isn't bad, because the wolf, we can put it in an empty lane to the left or the right. We can choose when we don't choose where to deploy at the beginning of a round, but we can choose where we play a creep to. So let's say we didn't have creatures in either of these 2 slots, and I were to play a creep creature. I would be able to choose. They have to go in front of an existing enemy. I can choose which one of these. I can also choose which side this goes to in this situation, now that those are all filled up. So we can only play one of these because this guy's around. I really like this idea, though, of giving our allies, as much as this creature can be a threat, this is a good option. I like this option, but our goal in this deck is to kind of stall. And so we're going to do this. We're going to choose this hero, and then these units now have armor. So I like that ability. So, modify unit with -2 armor. Okay, so that's Where did they do that to? So, oh, they did that to our hero. That's a bummer. I don't like that at all. So it would be nice to have some armor. And this is going to stay. Modify stays. Modify is a big thing in this. So, there isn't really much else we could do. We could put a sword on, but we're going to kill this character anyway. So I'm going to pass, see if our opponent does anything. All right. That's all right. I am happy with how that worked out. So, these guys have a passive ability here. That's what you're seeing. Before the action phase, deal 2 piercing damage, which ignores armor to random enemy neighbor of Plague Ward. So this was straight across, and this was its neighbor. So that's all good. I'm happy with that. What else can we do? We can put a barracks down. A barracks could be very helpful. And I like that idea. And this is where it comes into play, where you can play cards in these cards into another lane. And I think that would be a good idea for us here. And I think by putting a barracks down here, it's helping us to just not get killed in this lane. This is where we're in trouble. Sure, I'd like to put a barracks down here and maybe try to get control of this lane, get even stronger control of this lane. But we don't want to lose the game by just getting killed here. Cunning Plan isn't necessarily all that useful. We draw a card, but we don't really need to swap anything up right now. I'm okay with the way things are lined up. This creep is going to die. That's fine. I don't have a problem with that. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to put this improvement down. We're going to choose this lane to put the improvement down, and then each deployment phase, we know we're going to get at least one creep here unless something happens. So -2 attack. All right. So this stinks that this character now has absolutely 0 attack. I really don't like that. However, their passive ability is really why this character is in the deck. Now, at any point, I can double click on this character and see what is this character's max health. Well, their max health right now is 6, so healing it to full doesn't really do anything. I can put a short sword on this character, and I may actually do that. I don't need to right now. I don't like the idea of having 0 attack, but this could be more useful later. So I'm actually not going to do anything. I'm going to pass you. You can see we have initiative right now, and then our opponent passed, so we keep that initiative. Okay, so we're doing stuff. Now, let's see here. Divine Intervention. We could do it. If we do Divine Intervention, as much as I don't like it, it keeps, we don't take the 2 damage, which is fine. It's not great, but it's fine. And it also means this creep stays around, and then we're gonna not take that 10 damage next round unless our opponent is able to get rid of that. Plus, they're doing 4 damage, and if nothing else changes, they'll actually kill this hero next round. So as much as Divine Intervention is nice to play maybe later on in the tougher situation, right now we're just trying to stabilize in this lane. So we are going to play Divine Intervention here. So now all allies in here are immune. Okay, so 1 armor. That's not great. We don't want this guy to get a lot of armor because he's going to be harder and harder to kill. But we're keeping this creep around unless our opponent's able to do something else for another round. And then we're generating at least 1 creep because of our barracks next round. So we're just trying to stabilize in this lane as best we can. We have 11 gold, and now this is what we're talking about. We already have a healing, and let's see here. I think I'm gonna buy I'm gonna buy my own actually to see what it cycles through next. Okay, nice. I've got. I don't know if I'm going to really need more than 2. I really like this because it basically continues to give us more and more health as something is able to stay out on the board. So, do I want to buy from the secret shop or from my own deck? I think I'm going to buy from my own deck. I don't know if I'm really going to need more than 2 of them. So I like having 2 of them, though. I think that is fantastic. So now our character, so see where the creep's going to go, and see, it's good we got the barracks down. So we're starting to roll in this lane here. Both of our randomly generated creeps went into this lane. We're generating this creature from this card here, and then the one from the barracks is going here. So now where do we want these characters to go? So, and where's our enemy going to go? We know they're going to have 2 creeps randomly generated in this lane, and they're going to drop this character down. If we put a character into this lane, that's cool. Okay, because we have a creep here, and that creep we generate in front of here, this character could not go in this lane, and they could be perfectly safe. Or they could plop in front of this one, or they could put this character down, or a creep would go here. So we don't know if they're safe over there. I definitely want a blue hero over here. They're pretty safe over here. Our opponent has nothing going in here. So I think that's why we're going to put this here for sure. Because we know that they're going to be taking 2 damage, but they're also going to be hitting this enemy, which we want to get rid of eventually because they're hurting our ability to play cards in here. And where do we want our other blue character to go? We have a blue character here. We could put one down here. And again, we don't necessarily know our enemy isn't putting something down. They could put this character down in this lane. I expect them to put him down in this lane. They could try to really roll over here, but I expect them to probably go here. We'll see. Where do we want Zeus to go? Actually, we're kind of safe going into this lane because we're generating so much stuff. So I think what we're going to do is I don't want to put my character that's generating minions over here because we don't want to have overkill necessarily in this lane. And then as long as this character is alive and this barracks is alive, we're generating a minion here, we're generating a different minion here and one over here. We're generating all over, which I kind of like. We want to stabilize and build up. So I'm going to put Zeus over here, I think. They'll be able to survive 1 hit from this guy if we get hit. There's lots of stuff popping out in this lane. We'll see what happens. But this is basically how every round is going to work. We're going to do the stuff in lane 1. We'll eventually both pass. Combat will happen. We're going to do stuff in lane 2. Combat will happen. Do stuff in lane 3. Combat will happen. We have the chance to buy stuff, and then we have the deployment phase. And that's how a round basically works. So, let's assess the whole situation here. This is fine. Okay, I'm happy with this. I want this guy to live, but we may put a cloak or something on him. So that's all right. I'm pretty happy with how this worked out. Now, what do we want to do here? I'd like to get rid of this guy. The 2 regeneration here. Okay, that's good. So what can we do? We can start... Maybe we want to put a cloak on her right away. You know what? I'm going to do it. I'm going to put a cloak on her right away. One of the interesting things about this game is the cards that you buy from your item deck, you paid for them in money. You do not have to pay mana for them. You've already paid for them in a sense. So they do count as a turn. So if I want to keep priority and I'm playing a bunch of these, I'm basically handing over priority to my opponent. But I want to keep this character out as long as possible. We're going to put a cloak on this character right away, give them 4 more health, and then they'll generate more and more health the longer they're out. Okay. They're trying to kill our character here. That's a bummer. They have no gold right now. So that's interesting. What do we want to do in this situation? We could put a cloak down there. I'm thinking about maybe putting a cloak and healing over here. What's this character's max health again? 10. So healing is a little bit more effective over there. Where do we want to put that? I'm not sure where we want to put that other cloak. I also am thinking... If we're going to make this character tanky and we want to get our mana back, you know what? I'm going to do it. I'm going to put a sword on this character. Why not? You can see 2 of our 3 equipment slots. We have a weapon and then an accessory, and we have an armor slot available. We could put... we didn't buy armor. We don't have armor right now to do. I'm worried about maybe combat tricks. What's this character's max health? Is 8. I could heal this character. Interesting. I'm not quite sure what I want to do. Oh, I haven't even played any of these. No, we don't want to make all allies immune this round. And this is where... See, this one can be played anywhere. It even says in any lane. I'm kind of thinking... You know what? We don't need to stabilize right now. We're doing okay over here. So I was thinking about using this to put a creep down here, but because of the way things worked out, we're not taking any damage right now, so we don't necessarily need to play that card. We could summon creeps here and really try to steamroll this lane. That's not bad, but I like the idea of threatening, actually. We were talking about... we have 5 mana, and we can scroll through here. Yeah, I like this. I like threatening and trying to get this creature as big as possible right away. So this is a creature that passively is going to get +1 attack and +2 health after the combat phase. So they're going to do damage to this tower and get bigger. I like the idea of our characters getting bigger and bigger. I'm going to pass now, and I'm pretty happy with that situation. Now, again, these guys, we're going to be generating more and more of these guys. They're going to be doing piercing damage to our enemies. That is great. I'm loving it. All right, what do we want to do here? I don't think we need a cloak on Zeus right now. I don't really need to heal anybody. We could put a cloak. I'm thinking about putting a cloak on this guy. Now we could deal 4 damage to each enemy. That could be more useful over here. They have some armor, but not a lot. I kind of like thunderstorming over here. We'll see. Could swap some people and draw cards, but I'm actually perfectly fine with how our setup is over here. We could not do anything. So I think we want the cloak for this guy. We want to keep him around. So do we not do anything? I think we definitely want to do something. Well, no. Oh, you know, I play green cards over here, so we can still play the cloak. We could just hang on to some cards, because these are going to die anyway, so I'm not worried about dealing the 4 damage. Maybe next turn. Maybe we don't do anything and just save our cards. I'm totally okay with that. You know what? We're summoning a bunch of stuff just to stabilize. I'm going to summon a creep over here. Just to... We're doing all right, but if we can stabilize all the lanes, and we're only at 14 health. So if we can end up defending that lane and not losing it, I think that's definitely beneficial to us. So now we will pass. All right, so we did 10 damage. We're doing well. We're doing work. And you can see here, this is what I'm talking about. Blue heroes, okay, so they're fully healed. That's a bummer. You know, blue heroes, they're going to die early and often, but the blue has some spells. They can do some work later in the game. Now, we could Divine Intervention. I was going to say, and this is what thing you want to keep in mind. We don't have a blue hero in this lane, so we can't play Thunderstorm. So I'm a dum-dum. We could do Divine Intervention again. And the reason I'm thinking about, we're definitely going to put a cloak on. I want this guy around. I like that he's buffing. I kind of wish I could change positions with him, which, again, if we had a blue hero, we could change positions. Like we could swap, although we wouldn't want to swap him in front of this guy. His max health is now 14. I'm not gonna heal him just yet. I'm gonna save that. I think I'm gonna Divine Intervention. We have an extra creep now, and we're generating 1 each turn in this lane. And you know what? We're just stabilizing. We're just annoying our enemy, keeping this lane alive. We still have very slight card advantage. So I'm happy with this. We've now stabilized this lane. We're really threatening here. We're starting to threaten over here. So does our enemy have any I don't think they have any improvements we're worried about, so I'm not worried about the Magic King Maul. I don't have enough to buy this. Heal a unit 6. When do you have 4 gold? You know what? I'm going to save up. I'm not going to buy anything now. Maybe buy some bigger, more useful stuff later. We already have a heal that we haven't used yet. So we've got 2 creeps over here, 2 over here, 1 over here. We're doing work. We're doing things. And now we're really starting to stabilize over here and threaten elsewhere. So, who has initiative? Our opponent has initiative right now. Oh, Friendly Fire can be very, very useful for us, but we need a blue hero. Please. Oh, no. Maybe we should have put a cloak on her. All right. So, we were stabilizing. Okay, so what did our opponent do? Spend all your gold. So they have quite a few gold spending effects. Oh, no, that's not what they did. Wait, what happened? Hang on. They did a thing. Did they activate a thing? Interesting. I'm not even quite sure what happened there. I thought they played a card. Let's see here. Oh, they activated the ability after they played the card, so I'm not sure. Anyways, they did some stuff. They hurt us real bad. So now, that's not great. So, we have a few options, though. We can Thunderstorm here. That does some work. That gets rid of some stuff and keeps some of our creep alive. We are going to take some damage, but we're going to get rid of this. if we Thunderstorm. Oh, no, we won't because it's not piercing. So our 4 damage will only do 3 to this one. We could, if we friendly fire, we could have this unit fight this unit. That would not kill either of them. It would definitely do some damage to them. They have 2 retaliate, so they would actually deal 6 damage to this guy, I believe. So that's not bad. That's an option. I kind of like Thunderstorm, though. Thunderstorm is going to get rid of a lot of the stuff over here and deal enough damage that we're doing work. So I'm okay with that. So we're kind of racing in this lane right now, but we're generating stuff in that lane. This lane is ours. Let's see here. This hero is going to die. Oh no. Or they won't, because we can swap them and draw a card. I like that ability. I like that idea. We don't need to swap over here, so that's what we're going to do. We're going to use Cunning Plan. We're going to swap a unit with one of its neighbors and draw a card. Excellent. All right. So, sure, we don't want to lose this guy, but we want to keep this hero alive. And we had this activate, deal piercing damage. So I am perfectly fine with that. We want to keep that hero alive. We don't really want to summon anything in this lane, so I think we want to draw cards. We don't have a blue hero over here still, so drawing cards, we could get some green cards. So why don't we do that? We're going to use Foresight, because that's another thing you want to bear in mind. So there, we got, oh, so that's not bad. All allies have +1 armor. We got both of our +1 armor improvements for everything. That's pretty good, actually. So we could heal something again, but we're not worried about this lane. This lane is looking pretty done and dusted. So what do we got going on over here? Oh boy. That's not good. Routed. Modify enemy heroes at the fountain. So, wow. Okay, so the fountain is over here. This is the healing fountain where it says where things are going to come back. At the fountain with X attack where X is half of their health. Modify them with your tower has -1 mana. So that's her. Wow. Okay, so we've got only 2 attack, -2 armor. So that means we take 2 additional damage from each attack. That's a bummer. And she's going to lower the mana at whatever tower she's at. However, we're stabilizing, and that's good. We don't even really need to heal. So I think, now this we can play anywhere. Do we want to play here? We have 7 mana, so we can only play one of these, but this is one where you can play anywhere. We definitely don't want to play it here. We have no use. We won't have a green hero come out next round. I still think we're going to be okay over here. We still have a blue hero. We're generating stuff. So we're going to get, I think we're going to get some armor over here and stabilize. This is where we have the most stuff. Yeah, that's what we're going to do. So we're going to play this into this lane. And who knows? We might end up winning this lane. I am fine with that. You definitely want to be flexible with your strategy. I don't think we're going to do anything else. So again, we're going to generate a creep. That creep's going to have armor. I'm still okay with how this is going. Equipped hero +2 attack. Activate 2 cooldown. Deal 2 damage to a unit. A unit is a creep or hero, so you can check that. Maybe. I don't love this card, but I think we're gonna go for it. And we could, yeah, we're gonna buy one of these 2 just in case. There's some armor we have in our equipment deck, but we're doing okay. So, what have we not talked about? You can see again, these are the random draws if they're going straight, left, or right. It's again 50% to go straight, 25% for each direction. So this guy's attacking into here, which is not great. If we have something in front of here, though, that will change. So that's all stuff to bear in mind. Chain Frost is going to mess us up. Ow. Okay. So there we saw an example of why initiative is important. Our opponent had initiative, and it destroyed all of our stuff, and now we can't do anything except play item cards. So Chain Frost just wrecked us. Huh. What are we going to do? Well, we can't do anything in this lane. So maybe this is a lane we lose and we stabilize on later and then win in this lane? I mean, it's possible. That really hurt. We need to get a blue hero down here, and this is where I'm thinking that maybe our deck, something that we're potentially needing more of is an ability to change lanes or something like that. We probably don't. We thought that hero was going to survive, but that card really messed us up. So we're just going to pass because we don't have anything we really can do. We're going to take a ton of damage, and they're healing to full. Yeah, that hurts. That hurts real bad. This guy has -8 armor. So if we were able to do damage to him, we would deal a lot of damage. But we can't. We just can't do that right now. So, let's see. I don't know if we're going to be able to stabilize in that lane. These guys doing work. I'm loving this. When I built the deck initially, I kind of wanted to build it around the hero that just died that generates creep, but this hero with their creep that they generate is working out very well. We're winning this lane. So, do we want to win more? Do we want to just intentionally win the lane this round if we can? Nah, no reason to. What else can we do? Maybe we need some more cards again that swap lanes. This is only in this lane, so that doesn't help. This is only in this lane, so that doesn't really help. None of this stuff really helps us, and we don't have a blue hero over here. So, we're at 8 mana, not 9, so we cannot do both of these over here next round. Although Armed Rebellion is definitely going to be a useful card next turn, I think. So, is there anything we want to do? I mean, we can put equipment on. But we won this lane. I don't think we're going to do anything. I think we're just going to pass. So changing, oh, and by the way, you can see this +1 here. You can scroll back and forth. One thing to bear in mind, there is no limit to cards in hand. There is no limit to creeps or heroes in a lane. So something else to bear in mind. And I believe, I haven't done this yet. I believe I read somewhere if you run out of cards and your cards recycle, I think your discard gets drawn back. I'm not sure about that, but I don't think you lose if you run out of cards. So just things to bear in mind. So we can do stuff here. We can play stuff. We can, but I think Armed Rebellion is real good for us. All our creeps get modified with armor and attack. Now, these creeps are going to die. That's a bummer. However, more armor on the stuff we have, that's not, it's not that useful for us. It is going to help. This one's already going to outlast. Well, the 3 creeps, these 2 are going to die, but the 3 that we have out are going to be in better shape. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. Also, let's equip this musket. So to help us do more damage, and we can activate it right now. Here, when they come out, they usually have to wait their cooldown before they can do their activated special ability. But items you can use right away and then go on cooldown. So by dealing 2 damage, if we deal 2 damage to this guy, and then we deal 2 more damage, ooh, will that work? They have 1 armor. So this will deal 1 damage. And then dealing 1 more damage from here, that'll bring us up to 5. It won't kill that guy. Bummer. Do we kill something else? I don't know. I want rid of this guy, though. That armors get annoying. I really want rid of this guy. You know what? We're going to do it just for the fun of it. Why not? And we're going to arm the rebellion. So you can see these creeps all have 2 armor now. Alright, +3 attack this round. That's fine. You do that. You're not doing anything with that. I don't know why you would do that. The AI is not bad in this game, especially when you're first learning. It can be challenging. But every once in a while they do things that aren't that smart. Okay. So they still have a threat here. We still have to block that threat. We are still generating creep, though, so that's good. Another cloak is not bad. Now, interesting. I think we're probably going to buy a town portal and a cloak. So when you return an allied hero to the fountain, normally if a hero dies, they don't come back out until a round after that. However, so they won't come out the next round from the round they die. They'll be the one after that. If you return them to the fountain, though, they didn't die, and they'll just come back at the next deployment phase. That can actually be very useful in repositioning heroes. So we're going to buy that, and we're going to buy another cloak because why not? So, how do we do this? Well, -2 armor hurts real bad. If we put this hero here, they're going to go in front of something. For, even 7 damage won't kill her in 1 round. But here's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking I don't know what to do. Because we're losing this lane. We're getting 1 creep. I don't know, but we can hang on with this 1 creep. And what do we have in green? Now we're going to draw cards, obviously, but LS of 1 armor could help us. We could play it in that lane. We're winning this lane. She probably dies in this lane. She definitely dies in this lane, unless our enemy puts that hero down and then she faces off against that. I think I'm going to put her here. That may sound crazy. You might think I'm crazy. All I want is to put her in a good spot. We're going to do it. We're going to try to hang on to this lane, and then if we need to, we can pull her back out with the town portal. But we can at least play stuff, only green cards, but we can play stuff in this lane. So she's not dead yet. She feels happy. All right, and this guy could have pathed into that character, which would have been bad. And we are going to draw cards, too, so that's not bad. Armed Rebellion. We only have 1 creep out there. That's not necessarily that great. This, you know what? We're gonna do some stuff here. We're gonna give her some more health. Excellent. All right. So by giving her some more health, it did nothing, and we don't get to do anything. Okay, so we're just, we lost that lane. Okay. Well, we have card advantage, and she'll have that cloak on her still. That's a real bummer. So now we know. So remember what I said. You have to defeat 2 towers or defeat an ancient. We might defeat 2 towers this round, though. So even if we lose this tower, that's not that big of a deal. There is nothing we can do except to fully heal our enemy. So we're not going to do that. So that's a bummer. So we have lost 1 of 2 towers here. Now, our opponent may still place. They have no mana, but they might play some. Oh, they're activating the ability. Okay. So they are basically destroying their own hero to draw cards, which makes sense because we definitely have card advantage over our enemy. So honestly, that was the right play. They're winning this anyways. They'll be able to redeploy them eventually. Actually, what is this check mark? So they come out because, I guess because of the way that ability works, they will come out next round. So that works real well for them, actually. So there we go. We lost 1 of our towers. Our Ancient will come out now with 80 health. Damage does not carry over, by the way. Now, a few things we haven't talked about. Those guys are doing work. I love these guys. This is great. Right now, you can see we will take out a tower if nothing else changes. So I might just pass to try to make sure we have initiative over here. And that's probably what I'll do. Now, if our opponent does something, then we may need to react to do something about it. But right now, if I pass and they don't do anything, we have initiative over here to help us potentially win that lane. So I'm just not going to do anything. Now, I do want to point out, this was kind of meant to be a teaching video on how to play the game. There are some things we haven't talked about, some keywords we haven't come up. Again, you can look at, underlying keywords to see what they do, like cleave. If something is cleave 2, it deals its regular attack damage to what's in front of it, and then 2 damage to its enemy neighbors. There's things like siege. Siege, if, let's say this character here, let's say they had 2 attack, not 0, and then they had 2 siege. That meant if they were being blocked by something, they would do their 2 regular attack, and then whatever the siege value is, and I said 2 in this case, but it could be higher or lower than the regular attack, to the enemy tower. If they're not blocked, though, so let's say they had 4 attack and 2 siege, and they're not blocked and just hit the tower, they'll just do their regular 4 attack. But if they're blocked, they'll hit the enemy for 4 and then 2 siege. Those are some of the keywords we haven't really talked about yet. We've talked about passive abilities, active abilities, all that. I think we've talked about most of the things that you'll need to know to initially play. So right now, we are winning. We won't do anything. Oh, our opponent has no heroes out there, so the only thing they can do is play equipment cards. Let's see here. What did they do? I thought you could only play equipment on something in the lane, so where did they even put that? I don't know. I'm not sure what they did, but we're still winning the lane. So let's see if there's anything else. Great. There's one land for us. And we have initiative. Initiative is very important to keep in mind. We passed first in the turn when we both passed and ended the round. So right now we are winning this lane. So we probably win the game. I'm trying to think of a way in which we don't. Now, damage happens simultaneously, so this 4 damage will hit the tower, but you can see the pathing went this direction, so this character will hit this one. It all happens simultaneously, but again, the pathing is something to bear in mind. Again, we're winning this round, so I'm just not going to do anything and see if our opponent does something. Okay, they did some stuff, but that doesn't really hurt us. That hurts us in the long term, but if we win this round, that doesn't really do anything to us, and that used most of their mana. So I think we won here. This would be the second tower. Yep, we won. Okay, so what are things to bear in mind? Obviously, you can use the starter decks to build out. Building your own decks, you want to think about stuff I said in that video. Go watch that if you haven't seen that yet and are interested in deck construction. But really, you want to be thinking about multiple things in this game. You need to be paying attention to the entire board state. You need to be thinking about where heroes are in order to be able to play stuff and not just your mana cost. You need to be able to think about survivability and pathing, where you think your opponent's going to play stuff. There's a lot of things to think about, but hopefully this video did a good enough job of showing you kind of what you need to know how to play. We can get into some more in-depth videos, maybe actually play some human opponents and things like that, but hopefully this gave you an idea of how this game works. It's complicated. There are a lot of things to bear in mind. You got to think about, your enemy deployments. Where do you think you're going to deploy? You got to think about if you can play stuff. You got to think about initiative. How important is that to you, and what can happen with that pathing. I will say generally right now there's a lot of randomness in the game in that you don't choose where to. There are rules that determine where deployment happens with your creeps and your heroes as to what position to go into. There are statistics that determine the chances as to which path they will take and things like that. But with all of that randomness, there are people who may not like this game. And I want to point out, you will lose some games just because, like, hey, if this had pathed here or if this had gone here, I would have won and it didn't, so I lost. That will happen in this game. However, I do want to say, while there's a high degree of randomness in this game, there's a lot of ability. You can do stuff about that. And that's not something that you want to think about. You want to think about combat tricks, about being able to change directions, change lane. If you're running into an issue, it's like, hey, if I could just do this thing, if I could just have more armor, if I just whatever, and think about when you start building decks on your own, what am I lacking? What's working? What can I improve on my theme and things like that? And one thing I do like about this game is while there is certainly a lot of randomness with that placement, you can mitigate that. You can bring combat trick cards into your deck to help you mitigate that. And so, for example, this game doesn't have a ton of. There are random effects. There is a blue hero that has a 25% chance to get another copy of a spell they cast. Things like that. There's not a ton of them. Your mana, while again there are things that can modify it, it's stable. You know what you're going to get. So while there are additional random things, there's randomness taken away. And I actually don't think this game overall, in my opinion, is too random, because when you know what the parameters are, and that's part of what this video was meant to do, is to help show you, hey, this is stuff that's, you need to bear in mind, like when you're building your deck. And do you want to think about combat tricks and things like that and synergies between actions? I'm surprised at how consistent I actually find the game, but hopefully that was enough information to help you guys get going on how you actually play this complicated game. And while I think that initial step of learning the game can be incredibly difficult, once you kind of see, you get over that initial hump of the placement and things like that, I actually don't think it's as complicated as it appears. Its first initial appearance is incredibly complicated, but if you compare it to, say, Magic, where you only have the one lane, you don't have that weird deployment and all that, but you have these instants and stacks and all this craziness that are happening, and cards with paragraphs of information. I don't really want to say one is more or less complicated than the other. This one looks more complicated than what it is, and hopefully this video helped you understand that. And just remember the basic gist. You're going to start with the 3 heroes you choose out on the board. You're going to be able to put one that you choose in this slot and down in round 2, the one in this slot in round 3. And each round you're going to go through making your choices. Both players pass on the first stage, combat happens. Second stage, combat happens. Third stage, combat happens. Buy stuff. 2 random creeps, and then whatever heroes are coming in from your healing pool. And then, that's the gist of the game. And will this help you understand the gist? If it did, please like, share, subscribe. Help me to grow the channel and help me to be able to do and justify doing more content in the future. If you have any questions, please let me know in the comments. I will try to answer. And if you have anything in particular you'd like to see, let me know. There are lots of things we can show off. There are many different ways to play. You can play against the bots. You can play against friends on Steam, because this is from Valve. You're going to have it on Steam, so any Steam friends you have, you'll be able to challenge directly if they also have it. And if you play casual, you can just play one-off matches. You can bring a constructed deck and play until you win 5 or lose 2. Or you can do a phantom draft for free. You don't get any prizes or get to keep anything, where you basically go through a draft. If you want to see a draft, I'm probably going to do a video on a draft. Let me know if you want to see it, though. And then there are the events where you can pay tickets in order to join, where you get rewards. If you get to 3 wins, then you get a ticket. You basically get what you paid back if you get 3 wins. If you get 4 wins before you get to 2 losses, you get a ticket in the pack. If you get to 5 wins, you get a ticket in 2 packs. So before you get to 2 losses, that's the way this works with a constructed deck. If you do a phantom draft, it's 1 ticket, and it works the same way. And again, it's a draft, but you don't keep the cards you draft. If you do a keeper draft, it's 2 tickets, and you have to have 5 unopened packs that you bring. It's just like a real life draft, where you're bringing your own packs to a draft, but you do get to keep the cards you end up drafting. So if you want to choose and do rare drafting and try to get cards that actually have monetary value, even if they're not that great for your deck, you can do that. Maybe you will get that one, the green hero that is selling for a whole lot. You never know. But I keep rambling. I should be ending the video. Thanks a lot for watching, and we'll talk to you again soon.